the bottom left, in the red, he's the Terran player, is Gumiho. Upper right in the red, having pretty good results thus far. And by the way, we're on Dynasty. What a cool map. It is NightMare. Those of you, if there, you know, if some of you are familiar with like old cartoons, like 80s cartoons, 90s cartoons, I guess 90s cartoons. I'm gonna go there. 90s cartoons, something that would show up on Boomerang. You remember if you know what Boomerang is, which is this kind of a retro cartoon channel run by Cartoon Network. Does NightMare know that this is not... What is... Okay, I guess that's a Reaper wall. Okay, well, sure. I was going to say, does NightMare know that that's not the main entrance into his base? But no, this is a Reaper wall, right? So Reaper goes up here, goes up into the main base, and you can wall that off because there's no actual main base cliff wall. And when NightMare wants to go and take the gold base, if he wants to go take the gold base at the end of the day, he can just mine these minerals out. 2 trips, not that big of a deal when you're kind of still in the main base. So actually, it's pretty cool. But there's no wall at the naturals, so there's that. But what this does mean is there's only one access point into the main base for the Reaper, which means stalkers or adepts, in this case adepts, can really handle it for the most part. So kind of cool. A very quick Twilight. Yeah, you know, they're different ranges, and Twilight openers are not crazy, but this is a very quick Twilight. So where exactly we go from this, I don't know. I don't know, but man, it's hard to hold this. It's hard to hold this gold base. It's tempting, right? It's technically an in-base gold, but this wall is hard. So for now, we got our first adept scout on the map. It's a 2 Hellion opener actually coming out of Gumiho as he tries to get aggressive with this. We're not gonna have a full wall. He's gonna get... Okay, no, this is a 2 base wall. So the Hellions without a Reaper, they really shouldn't get in. And do we have a Reaper? Paying attention to other things? No, this was a Marine opener into Hellions. So Gumiho is not gonna be able to get into the main base. No damage being done there. SCV took a little damage, but I think the adepts... No, okay, shaded back out. Should be able to deny a decent amount of mining time on the other side, but the big question here is whether this is a true push or not. Oh, yes, the SCV, very nice there. With Marines, it gets a little harder. 3 Marines don't really do a lot, but what you can do here is... Oh, okay, with the Hellions, never mind, this is all dead. I was gonna say, you can just wait for shields to regen and kind of poke and prod and do that like every 15 seconds or so. I don't really know quite how long it takes for the shields to regen on an adept. That's not something that has ever really mattered. But Blink is done. Robo just about done. We're going up to 4 gateways here. So NightMare wants to just lean into this, and I think that's fair. So Stim is going to be done shortly, but not done just yet. And that is certainly timing. Hellion is thinking about, oh, there's no gold. This is just a standard 2 base setup for a Protoss player. And what this does mean is that NightMare does have to go and get something done. Just a little bit, right? Gold-based minerals versus... I can't... Okay, this is a little weird to me. Gumiho's dropping mules on the gold base. I guess, you know, some of the logic says once you get your natural, drop mules on the natural. Because, well, you want to make sure the bases, they mine out kind of a little bit more congruently. So it's not like, wow, the main base is gone and I'm only mining off of 1 base. It evens out your income. But dropping mules on a gold base does nothing. In fact, a gold base effectively turns every SCV into a mule. That's kind of how it works. You mine 5 minerals from a regular mineral patch. I think it's 7 from a gold, and a mule also mines 7 minerals from a gold. So dropping mules is a little weird there, you know, just a little bit. There's no extra efficiency. There's no added income boost. So, you know, I see why Gumiho's doing it, because you want to even out your economy, but it is still a little bit weird. But look at this. So it's 4 gate blink, but it is a third. Am I crazy? Yeah, this was 4 gate blink, 3rd base on the way. 5 additional gateways. So it's 9 gateways going up pretty quickly here. And there's a follow-up. We're going into Storm. Charge as well. And I think it's weird that you go 4-gate like this, but it's a 4-gate expand. 4-gate expand is not really a thing. Not often. But I guess in part, I mean, it is. You don't really have an opportunity to go blink into the main base. You can kind of take this angle, but the access point into the main base is pretty small. So, ooh, Marine drop on the left side, but again, this is a full wall, so it's kind of hard. Although, this pylon is very... Never mind, that pylon powers everything. I was going to say, this pylon is a bit of a Narcosis pylon, but I am blind. You cannot see the pylon right there. So, Gumiho's aware of the gateways. He is, in fact, supply blocking NightMare just briefly. More pylons have to get made. But where's our prism? We don't have one. Okay, so 3 Templars here on the 3rd base. No prism just yet. You get storm this early, and I would have thought at the very least you'd try for a storm drop. But I guess not. So for now, the drop on the map is Stalkers are gonna... I mean, there's more than enough Stalkers here. This is 8 Stalkers versus 6 Marines. Yeah, this drop is dead. Gumiho really shouldn't be able to get anything Stalkers blinking back. Yeah, so even with Stim, not a single Stalker should go down. Very nice. Very little hull damage being taken as well. And now there's a 4th base on the way. So NightMare is doing a really nice job of playing greedy, playing macro here. And okay, this map is just weird. I don't really have a good handle on it. I don't know if the pro players have a good handle on it yet, because gold bases generally would say, hey, you know, this gives me aggression. This gives me an aggressive opportunity. All right, it turbocharges my income. But Gumiho's just been sitting at home. We're 8 minutes in. He actually fairly quick stim combat shield timing. Stalkers at the front, they're not going to get a lot here. Zealots run forward. Widow mines go off. I mean, maybe looking for good storms, but it feels really hard to do this. Anyway, Gumiho building himself up to be ready for a timing if he wants to go for it. And okay, SCV was there, and a little bit of inefficiencies in terms of which SCV is building what. But Gumiho never went for any bit of aggression as the storm lands pretty heavily on the unsupported bio here on the backside. That's a beautiful storm as well, but Gumiho big surround on top of everything. This army is tiny out of NightMare. So we're talking about how Gumiho's not really going for a push at all. At least not for a while, not until he's got his 4th base on the way. But he does still kind of win this fight. The storms are solid, and by the way, there's no Ghost Academy. Storms are just wrecking havoc here. Marines are taking so much damage. They're going down. Stalkers try to get on top of this, on top of the medevac. They're not going to get it. And I don't think this attack happens. It was a rough fight for NightMare in the middle of the map here, but Zealot's going to come in from every side. Stalkers on the backside, not getting a lot done. Storms on top of everything, just dropping here, and there's no way. There's zero shot this works for Gumiho. Feedbacks on top of the medevacs as well, so there's no healing. Disastrous fight for Gumiho. Just not a great position. But again, he's got a 4th base on the way, so it's kind of weird, right? How passive this game is going. Now Gumiho is going to be forced back to this 4th base. Tank on the high ground is actually really nice. It makes it pretty hard to go attack into this. But NightMare's got... Oh, I love this. This has been theorized for a while, and it is kind of dicey. But NightMare's taking the gold base, but not from the angle you would expect. He's taking it on the outside, which means, yeah, okay, he's got the gold minerals, sure, but he's also got rich gas. And that, when we talk about Protoss players, we talk about what you want to go for. Having rich gas is pretty dang important. So NightMare, he's now up 20 army supply. Running through the choke is a little scary through one angle. I don't know how I feel about it, but the Widow Mine's not going to get a shot off. Storms on the army are okay. That's kind of dicey, though. I think if you send 10 Zealots off here and get on top of the tank and don't just attack through the big choke, I think it goes a little bit better for you. That was pretty bad. It was pretty rough. Still get some stuff, but he killed very little for like 14 Zealots going down. No, that was not worth it. I understand the desire to get aggressive, but again, the angle was not great. So NightMare is going to try to attack once again. This is actually a much better angle for him. Storm's going to be decent. But these Widow Mines are not being handled properly. Gumiho's he's up upgrades. Now he's got Colossus on the way. Now Zealot's going to come in from every side. This is a lot better fight from Gumiho or from NightMare compared to what we just happened previously. Storms as well. Colossus is a little bit exposed. That's a little bit awkward. There's actually nothing on the ground. Zealots are going to have to run in from the other side because I don't think there's a prism here. And as NightMare is desperately trying to break Gumiho, it's awkward. It doesn't feel great. And I was going to say, but I think he's kind of pushing through anyways. Not really. These Colossus, though, they're hard to get on top of. The Marauder count's not really there. There are no Vikings. So NightMare, he's just going to have to be happy on his 5 bases. Although, again, probes are going to have to run over. And do we have any probes on the way? I think you actually just pull away from the 4th. The gold base is important enough. That rich gas is important enough that you just kind of you take whatever probes are closest. You start mining from it ASAP. Get those 12 probes mining. Get that money mining. As now, I mean, storms. I cannot believe, by the way, how impressive how useful these storms have been. Gumiho has a Ghost Academy. He's got personal cloaking done. Ghosts are a thing. But he doesn't have a single one. And this is a weird game of TVP. This is a wild game of TVP. But at this point, I mean, NightMare's got him at. NightMare's in a really solid spot. He's up 15 workers. He's up in army supply. Now, granted, it's 22 zealots. That's a lot of army supply. But he also has 4 Colossus. He's got +2 on the Colossus, +1 armor on the way. He's got storms, so he's got 2 levels of splash stalkers. Try to get on top of part of this army, and he's just got this office where he wants to live in, start to really poke away Widow Mines, and get some solid shots. And well, I know there's an observer here. Yeah, those Widow Mines those Widow Mines should really not have gotten what they did. Now storms are going to start to go down. EMPs, they kind of hit, but there are still storms available. Vikings not really getting what they want. And yeah, I just don't really believe in Gumiho being able to hold on to this. Maybe I should. The Colossus are starting to get low. Marauders getting on top of 1 Colossus is dead. Second, well, only 2 Colossus go down. Only 2 remain, and there's no prism. This is the wild thing here. The micro of Gumiho is actually really cool. Hot picking up Marauders, but there's just not enough here. Not enough, unfortunately. I mean, weird game. Really weird game, but NightMare takes game 1. Huh. Pretty cool. As we get ready for ourselves in this game number 2, I'm curious what Aligulac says. It's pretty even in terms of head-to-head, and NightMare, it thinks NightMare 2 zeros. So, of course, when we look at this, it's not 70-30, 72-28 in a naked series. This is assuming NightMare's up a 1-0. It thinks NightMare wins. But the fact that it's got NightMare up on like that is maybe I'm not giving NightMare enough credit. NightMare is very good, absolutely, but I kind of put Gumiho up on a little bit higher pedestal. But again, NightMare, Gumiho all time, well, not all time, in Legacy of the Void are 22-19 in series. So, okay, sure. I think I just need I'm sorry. I was not familiar with your, what's the quote? You know, I'm sorry. I meant no disrespect. I was not familiar with your game. And, you know, I've been banging the drum of NightMare a little bit. I think his PvP, he really impressed me with some PvP about a year ago against, I think it was Classic. But he hasn't been a super well-rounded player. You know, he's got some matchups that he's pretty good at, not all of them. Hello there, Jonathan Jerison. Welcome. We're now game 2 of Gumiho and NightMare. Really weird game number 1. Very passive from our Terran player, which is not something you see all that often. And it's actually really funny when you talk to Terran players and you talk to Protoss players. They both are of the opinion that you need to get aggressive pretty early on to make sure that you, well, just because you don't want your opponent to be comfortable. It feels really hard if that happens. And generally, if both players say that, someone's wrong. But I think it just depends on how you are as a player. Some Protoss players, they never go for 4-gate. Some players go for 4-gate all the time, right? Some players go for Stargate consistently. Some players don't. They say, no. Stargate gives too much space for the Terran. I got to go and I got to be aggressive. I got to go 3-4-gate Blink Stalker. And it very much depends on who the player is, on how exactly that it is they like to play, what defines their play style. And I think it's pretty cool as well that we have this opportunity that you get different play styles. A player can go and say, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to play aggressive. I'm going to play defensive. I have options. And they're all valid. As by the way, NightMare, he's going Phoenix in this game number 2, likely into Phoenix Colossus. We're gonna have to see exactly how the gas goes. Of course, could be Phoenix Charge as well, as the Reaper Hellion tries to dive in, but yeah, no, you know what you would like to do is hide the Phoenix. That's the ideal here, but yeah, it was never gonna happen with the Phoenix Hellion. At the very least, they're gonna die, or the Reaper Hellion. At the very least, they're gonna dive in the main base, you know, and show something. But by the way, Adept on the other side of the map here is getting 3 SCVs. Might even get a 4th. It does take 3 shots, so it's not, you don't do quite as much damage. He's gonna get 4. Like, okay, well, should have gotten 4. That, I think that Adept was dead one way or the other. And you know, if he committed to it, 4 dead workers. Unfortunately, oh, he's gonna get the he's not gonna get the Raven. Nice hot repair there, but it does force a lot of energy off. I was gonna say, you know what, like the Adept's gonna die anyways. At the very least, go and get 4 SCVs, which is just disastrous damage, by the way. This Raven, safe for now, is not gonna get shut down before it gets anything done. But again, a lot of energy was spent, which means this Raven can't harass. Which means any interference matrix is not gonna get a lot done. 5 dead SCVs this game, some very weak ones that the Phoenix can try to jump on top of. And it's just gonna be, okay, he's not gonna delay the 3rd base for now, but it's gonna be pretty hard for Gumiho to get anything done for quite a bit. So again, quick 3rd base, that's what he's gonna rely on. We're gonna see that get lifted up. Phoenix is dead, not what do you want. That's pretty rough. You really don't want to lose a Phoenix in the early game, but now Adepts are gonna shade behind the mineral line here. More workers go down. 4 Adepts mean workers just get killed if they're one shot. Marines, actually, you can fight this number of Marines pretty easily as well. I think I would prefer targeting down. I think you just target down the SCVs, though. I think that's the play. Yeah, 1 Adept got out, but I think you just target down the SCVs. Gumiho could have... I mean, Gumiho could be at 30 workers right now. Gumiho's economy could be shattered for the low cost of like 4 Adepts. 5 Adepts, I guess, technically. But instead, he kind of fights army for army, and that's not as good. Doesn't build as much tempo. Even still, Phoenix Colossus is, of course, going to be the result out of this. Extended Thermal Lance on the way. We're adding in our Colossus now. 3rd base is about halfway done, 3/4 of the way done. And you might say, ah, man, the 3rd base is low. It's slow, and technically it is. No, not technically. In the context of a Twilight opener, yeah, this would be true. But when you go Stargate, you do get a slower 3rd. It's because you have less units on the ground to defend against like a 1.5 base Terran push. So you slow it down a little bit. You're more about gas mining than mineral mining anyways, so it's pretty okay. And then when you really want to start to explode your supply, that's when you take the 3rd base. When you're going to try to add your gateways, that's when you add your 3rd base. And this just keeps you safe, keeps you defensive. As did another... Okay, an observer went down right there. Power of the Viking, power of the Raven working together. Where are our Phoenix? Are they just back at home? Only 2 feet. Okay, so another one went down. Right, so I'm not exactly sure what happened with that, but the sniping potential. I do like... Oh, he's just going to dive. Yeah, okay, gets the Raven down. For the cost of another Phoenix, but... I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. Feels rough. Now there's no anti-Viking play. That actually may be the go time. Gumiho, yeah, Gumiho's going to salvage his bunker, but now he's got he's got his 3rd base. He's not going to go on the map. But it is interesting to sacrifice so many Phoenix to kill that Raven. Yeah, getting the Raven's really important. But when you're playing Phoenix Colossus, the other thing you want to do is you want to have these Phoenix alive, because it means that Vikings, you need more Vikings, right? They need something to shoot at. When they have something more to shoot at, you have some way to deal with the Vikings. Ideally, eventually, they're going to be Stalkers. Stalkers do bonus damage to armored units, right? So they do fight Vikings a little bit better than Phoenix do. But in general, you want something. For now, though, NightMare, 2 Colossus. Charge done. +1, ways a ways off, but he's got 8 gate charge. There's a prism on the way here running across the map as well. Eventually, where's that? There it is. Okay, there it is. And there is not a lot of anti-Colossus. Now, this is double robo, or double starport, so eventually there will be that answer. 4 Phoenix or 4 Vikings on the way at a time. If NightMare wants to make this happen, the window exists. Don't get me wrong, the window does exist, but it is a very thin window. So it looks like instead we're going to see a prism into the main base. A couple of Stalkers here warding the Vikings off, but it's just going to be a prism in the main base. 12 Zealots in the main base here. And that's maybe when NightMare does something, but the Vikings being as visible as they are, I think that says no, probably not worth doing. And for now, the Zealot's actually not getting a lot. They're going to try to kill a Marauder, maybe get a tech lab, but now they're on the worker line. And that's really where things start to matter a little bit more. And remember, this is damage on top of the damage that Gumiho took earlier. Yeah, he got his third base well timed, but he took a lot of worker damage pretty early on. That's 10 dead workers. We're seeing add-ons go down. 2 tech labs or reactor and a tech lab have died. Actually, a lot of damage that NightMare's been able to get. And behind this, Link's on the way. Second Robo's on the way. He has the tech. He's got his 4th base. He's starting to develop this tech that lets him deal with this double starport Viking play, which, again, that's something I think that Gumiho has to do. Funny I say that. He only has 3 Vikings. Like, he's on double starport, and he only has 3 Vikings. He's building more of them now, but he lost a lot of Vikings defending against that attack in the main base. And I think the Prism... Yeah, the Prism stayed alive. Okay. Yeah, NightMare's just dominating you. NightMare's just dominant against Gumiho in this game in a way that NightMare's been looking better and better as of late. Like, no shade to him, but I didn't expect a 2-0. And I'm not saying that this game is unwinnable for Gumiho right now, but I mean, NightMare is in a commanding position. He's up 20 army supply. Random Marine, I don't know. Marine is a scouting Marine. It's not going to get a lot done. He's up 20 army supply. He's got a ton of work. He's going up to 4 gas pretty quickly. And maybe attacking into Gumiho is a little hard. Maybe you want double forge now. I think he can drop a second forge whenever he wants. He's got a Twilight or a Templar Archives as well, although no Storms just yet. And he's pretty... Yeah, there we go. Storm's on the way. He's got Disruptors done. He's going to be able to very quickly... I mean, he's right. He's technically got 3 types of splash right now, but Archons are only one part of it. Gumiho just has to play very defensively here. He's building 4 Liberators at a time. There's no fleet, or there's no... whatever it's called. We're not going to have Lib range for a while, so that is really where this army gets powerful, but Gumiho's on this understanding that he has taken enough damage that there is no way he wins an aggressive game. Shot number 1 for the Disruptors is really nice. NightMare's maxed out. Gumiho's at 150 supply. It's a 30 army supply lead. These Vikings, they're going to maybe get 1 Colossus, maybe Disruptor shots zone out. They don't even get 1 Colossus. Archons get incredible shots. And NightMare dumpsters. And I mean dumpsters Gumiho in this series. Moving on to the round of 4. That was pretty cool. Well played, NightMare.